What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, Tim from Pro Wrestling Unlimited. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Great to be here. Love talking wrestling with you. Love jumping on the show and just doing what we do, bantering back and forth and seeing what's new in pro wrestling.
Yes. Well, once again, thank you for making the call to join me tonight. Once again, I feel like a broken record at this point. Sorry for lack of episodes. It's been a very busy month or so for me in general, just home stuff, work stuff. It's that time of the year. It's the first weekend of summer, and summertime at my radio station's very busy. So much going on. People taking vacation time, me covering for other people, and then events going on, music festivals, and other cool stuff. So much to get into, but I definitely need to get a podcast out this week because, Tim, I think it's safe to say, since WrestleMania weekend, which was first weekend in April, here we are, 2.5 months later since that weekend, which you could say April, May, early June's kind of like a little bit of a down period for WWE. I think there was like post WrestleMania fatigue and everyone kind of like coming down from this high that was WrestleMania season. And, but it's safe to say this was probably the most exciting week WWE has had since WrestleMania weekend. So much went on. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to recap all the highlights. So much happened going back to last Saturday, Clash at the Castle for WWE in Scotland. What happened there? And then what happened on Monday Night Raw, the debut of the Wyatt Six. Joe Hendry from TNA, the probably most viral wrestler right now in the world, making a surprise appearance for another company in NXT. And then on Friday Night SmackDown this week, our boy, the Bay Area's own Jacob Fatu, finally making his WWE debut and being the newest member of the Bloodline. So we'll get into all that. We're going to talk about all of it.
Jacob needs to make that WWE money to support them 7 kids.
I know. I forgot he has that many. Like I think Denise Salcedo, she reposted that video clip. It's saying that it was an old interview from last year or early this year. Yeah, Jacob has 7 kids, and I've seen most of his kids. Last time I saw Jacob, it was at an independent wrestling show here in the Bay Area, end of April. Oasis Pro Wrestling out in Berkeley. They have monthly shows at Gilman Brewing Company, and Jacob was there, and that was, which I'll get into more of that later. That was the last time I saw him, but I think that was like his farewell to like the independent crowd in hometown area, the Bay Area. But yeah, he had his whole family there. I saw all the kids running around. I'm like, wow, he really has a big family. That's awesome. But I'll talk about more about that and just kind of foreshadowing what was coming up next based on my interaction with him that night. So we'll touch on that. And Tim, you kind of know about that already.
Right.
But yeah, what a week WWE has had. So much to talk about. We'll go through all the highlights and cover it all as best and fast as we can because there's so much to get into. But I do want to talk about today. So we're recording today, Sunday, June 23rd. And for you wrestling fans out there, especially ones around my age, you know the significance of this date. I'm sure you probably saw it on social media. You probably saw it on Stone Cold Steve Austin's Twitter page. June 23rd, 1996. That was the 96th King of the Ring tournament that Stone Cold Steve Austin won. And his interview with Doc Hendricks, a.k.a. Mr. Freebird himself, Michael Hayes, he cut that famous promo after he won the King of the Ring tournament, defeating Jake the Snake Roberts in the finals. And he, for the first time ever, said Austin 316. And I do want to acknowledge it. I know, like, on March 16th, that's kind of been dubbed Austin 316 Day, Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, just because it plays along nicely, March 16th, 316. But officially, today, June 23rd, is the anniversary of when that catchphrase of his was created, and pretty much launched him into stardom from that point on. So, Tim, you're a little bit younger than me.
One thing, well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
When I was a kid, because I didn't start watching wrestling, and I've probably told you this story before, until about 1998.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So, what June 23rd, 1996 was for me on that date, that was when Super Mario 64 came out for the Nintendo 64. Same day.
Yes, I saw a meme for that. Was it yesterday or just coincidence? I saw that meme, and that's what I was reminded of. That was Mario Kart coming out that same day. So yes, for the gamers out there, that was a big day. It was one of the most popular games ever. So,
but as far as the Austin stuff, though, I've gone back, watched it all, of course, and found as soon as I'll tell a story really quickly. New kid moved in across the street. I had known what wrestling was because my grandfather watched it, but they lived in LA. We were in Fresno. So whenever we'd go visit, my grandpa would have it on, but I would be like, oh, I see what this is, but I never got into it because it was just like I'd see it once or twice a year. So new kid moves in across the street, invites me over to hang out, and he turns on Monday Night Raw. First match I see is the Hardy Boys versus the APA. Hardy Boys win the tag titles. I'm hooked forever.
Okay.
Tried to find everything I could about wrestling and never stopped watching since. So, yeah, I went back, found the stuff on the internet. It was when it was hard to find clips on the internet back then, of course.
Yes.
But I found stuff. I saw the Austin 316 stuff. I sort of saw some WCW stuff, but I never actually watched WCW when it was on.
Okay.
Like maybe like the final year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Austin stuff, though, it's iconic. It's great. The crazy thing is, like, he cuts that promo on Jake the Snake, where I guess like Jake cut a promo and he was just kind of told because he had to go to the hospital between matches.
Yep.
He was kind of told what Jake said. And then he kind of improvised. It was like, you talk about your songs, you talk about John 3:16, well, Austin 3:16. Yeah. So, and then the next night, everybody brought Austin 3:16 signs and it blew up.
Incredible. Yeah, no, I remember watching that live back in the day. I was very fortunate to watch that pay-per-view. Watched all the pay-per-views back then. We had other ways to get around that. I think it's been 28 years. I could think it's okay to talk about it, but yeah, there were ways around that. Watching those pay-per-views, but remember watching it live, and Stone Cold dominated that or won the King of the Ring tournament. He defeated Mark Marrow, and then let's see, was it just 2 semifinals? Let me just double check here. I'm looking on Wikipedia here. So he defeated.
For some reason, I'm thinking of Savio Vega, but I could be wrong. Am I wrong?
Well, him and Savio.
Well, I know
him and Savio. I think Savio Vega was like his first real opponent when he re-debuted as Stone Cold Steve Austin after the Ringmaster. Because I still like that edged in my brain. Stone Cold versus Savio Vega. Yep. Like that is like forever ingrained in my brain. Like Savio Vega was like his first big feud when he re-debuted and he had the white boots still. And
okay, so he fought Savio Vega in the quarterfinals on TV, not on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm remembering then.
So yeah, Stone Cold defeated Mark Marrow, King of the Ring semifinal match. Jake Roberts defeated Vader semifinal match, and then
Austin and Jake Roberts in a 4.5 minute finals.
I know. I'm looking at that here. Now, didn't they used to do King of the Ring? Used to wrestle potentially 3 times if you went all the way. Maybe.
Oh, I don't know. I always remember the 2 pay-per-view matches.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe. Okay. I have to go back. I'm sure there's someone video explaining the history of King of the Ring. Well, I think King of the Ring is back. Which thank you Triple H. Which that's something else. That's well. I was going to say, not to go off on a tangent here, but it's been really cool for WWE. WrestleMania, then they had Backlash, King of the Ring, Clash at the Castle. It's like bam, bam, every 3 weeks.
King of the Ring actually means something.
Exactly. So we can touch on that in a little bit when we get into the current events of stuff. Right. But yeah, Stone Cold defeated Jake Roberts. 4.5 minutes here, it says on Wikipedia.
And if you watch that match, you know why it only went 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And that's why the match before that, Jake Roberts and Vader only went 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was Jake Roberts was not in a good headspace and just physically, mentally, what he was going through at the time, and Jake has been very vocal about that time period in his life, and he's been sober now and clean, and but that was a tough time period. But yeah, you're right. That night, Stone Cold, he wrestled, got a busted lip, had to go to the hospital, get some stitches, and on the way back, he heard about, I think it was Doc Hendricks, or excuse me, Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes told him what Jake cut, the promo he cut, because Jake.
I think he said that they were just going over the promo that he was going to cut with Austin, or Austin was going to cut with him interviewing, and he was just like, "Hey, here's a couple things he said you can go off of if you want."
Yeah, so he kind of fed him those lines, and then Austin just ad-lib based off that. So,
but the thing with the Austin 316, Austin 316 shows you the importance of fan crowd signs.
Absolutely.
And that's why WWE now is putting an emphasis on those, because I don't know if you've noticed on their website every month they do a like a photo gallery of best crowd signs of May, best crowd signs of April. And so they do that once a month and put all photos of the best crowd signs from the last month up on their website.
But also just, going to a WWE show. I've been to Raw recently or within the last few months, last time they were in town. And even house shows too, when they go to commercial break or downtime intermission, they will, whoever the announcers, could be Samantha Irvin or whoever, will the cameraman will go around and look at the best signs, and then the ring announcer will acknowledge, oh, look at that sign. It says blah, blah, blah. And so if you bring a sign, you could potentially be shown on the big screen and get some love from the crowd inside the arena. So yeah, there's some added incentive for doing it now.
I was at a SmackDown in 2007, and like 3 rows in front of me, somebody had a big, like huge sign. I missed like half the show. Well, not missed, but I had to watch it up on the screen because they would not put their sign down. Because one side of the sign was for Batista, and the other sign, I don't know, I can't remember who it was for, but there was like a double sign. So it's like when one person was out there, they had the sign one way, and then whenever Batista was out there, they flipped it around and they had the Batista sign up.
Yeah, that's the only problem with having a wrestling sign. Like if you want to be seen by everyone on TV in big letters, you need a big sign. But unfortunately, you block everyone behind you. But if you want to be courteous, have a little bit smaller sign, the chances are being seen by the masses pretty slim. So
that was like on SmackDown this week in Chicago. Somebody brought like the big, like they draped it down the thing for and it said like CM Punk on it or whatever, like they used to do at the Hammerstein Ballroom kind of deal.
Well, now I see like a lot of people have the big fat heads. Like they'll get a photo of themselves and like have a super blown up version of their big head.
You always see the David LaGreca ones.
Yes, but then on this past Friday, it was some kid's head. I don't know, some young adult. Like I'm looking at the Jacob Fatu photos online, and you see this big kid's face in the crowd. So, but for Austin, I mean, you gotta give it up to him for being able to ad lib on the spot.
Oh yeah,
but also kudos to Michael Hayes. If it wasn't for him giving Austin that tip, he would have said that. So it's like it was all like the stars aligned perfectly that night, where everything lined up perfectly. Jake the Snake cut his promo, which had some like Bible verses incorporated into it, which then Michael Hayes relayed that to Austin, and Austin, ad lib and thought of on the spot his own version. But to come up with Austin 316, amazing. And you think about it also, keep in mind, history, King of the Ring 96, that was supposed to be Triple H's year to win the King of the Ring, but he had the current call issue with the Kliq, Madison Square Garden, earlier that year and got punished. And so he did not win that year. He went on a losing streak as his form of punishment. So you imagine if the current call never happened, Stone Cold would have blown up then. Like it makes you like, what if, like wrestling, what ifs, like to me, that's just, you can fall down a rabbit hole thinking about all these different scenarios. So if the current call never happened, if Hall and Nash never left WWF at the time, would then the current call never have happened? Therefore, Triple H would never have been punished. Therefore, Austin would never got his push. I mean, it's so trippy to think about all that. Yeah. So, but yes, Stone Cold won. And then, keep in mind, that was 96, June 96. I know he did not win his first title until WrestleMania 14, April, or was that March 1998. So he still had a little under 2 years to still build up. But you think about late 96, he started his feud with Bret Hart. That continued into 97. And then finally by end of 97. So while the Austin 316 gimmick took off, he was still getting red hot. He still had to work his way up to the main event scene still, which, you look at someone like LA Knight right now, who a lot of people want to see him win right away, but I feel like they're still being very patient with him. And that's something we can get into as well with talking about Logan Paul stuff.
That also led to Vince hand delivering Austin the largest royalty check he ever gave somebody too. Because of those Austin 316 shirts.
Those t-shirts still, and to this day, still sell. I mean, I have quite a few in my drawer. I was doing laundry earlier, and I still have quite a few of those. I buy probably a new one every single year because the other one I've worn out. So, yeah, I mean, what else can we say about Stone Cold? As has been said before, that led to him eventually getting the push, having these great feuds with other members of the roster, and then he became the top guy in the hottest period of pro wrestling history with the Attitude Era. And so I just want to acknowledge today, the anniversary of King of the Ring 96 and the start of the Austin era. And
the one other thing about Austin is people forget that before he got to WWE, he had been wrestling for what, 8 years before that. A lot of people either don't know or just forget about his WCW run and him starting in
in Texas
with Von Erichs and all
that. World class, but then US, which World Class got bought out into the US. Is it USWA?
I think so. Because like when you watch the I don't know if you saw it, the Chris Adams Dark Side of the Ring.
I need to watch that one.
They talk about his Austin feud in that.
Yeah, and he trained him, and then Austin married Austin's first wife was the British lady who gave him the term Stone Cold.
Yes,
was that Chris Adams' ex? I don't want to butcher history here. Hopefully, I'm correct on that one. Sorry, I did not look that up. But yeah, Austin's first wife, the British lady who gave him that term Stone Cold when he was trying to get rid of
Jeannie Clark.
Yeah, the ringmaster gimmick. But yeah, you're right. Like he got started in Texas, World Class of Von Erichs, and then went to WCW and Stunning Steve Austin.
Heyman was the first one, even in WCW. That was like, this guy's going to make you money, and the people in WCW only pushed him, so far.
Yeah, Eric Bischoff. Like, that's a whole nother thing. Like, I kind of want to do a full review of Who Killed WCW that's on Vice right now.
Any of it yet?
I saw the first episode. Full disclosure, I got rid of Xfinity a couple months ago, and I have YouTube TV now, but Vice is not on YouTube TV. So
I could send you the links if you want to watch it.
I've been meaning to follow up with you on that one. So please.
I mean, I'll just say it here. All episodes get uploaded to Dailymotion.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Same thing with if you ever missed Dark Side of the Ring.
Gotcha. I'll check that out. And then, then he went on the ECW and then, WWF, and we all know that history there. But it's really interesting watching his old Stunning Steve Austin days, wrestling WCW and over in Japan. His wrestling style, he was very more technical. And then when he broke his neck, he had to change up and become more of the brawler. So, but yes, I just want to acknowledge, King of the Ring 96. I mean, there's also great debate. When was the start of the Attitude Era? And I think some people cite that is the start because it started Austin 316. But that's a whole nother topic of like, was it Survivor Series 97 or Hall and Nash, NWO, Foreman, all that stuff. There's so many different. I think it's a collection of events that happen. But I just want to acknowledge Austin 316 was born on this day 28 years ago. So very cool stuff. So
one other thing with it, because you brought up the Who Killed WCW. How weird is it that The Rock is on that show but was never in WCW?
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm like, I get it. I'm like, part of me is like,
he wasn't on it a lot. He's not in the show a lot, so that's a good thing. But it's like, I get it. He produced it. His company, worked with the Vice and the Dark Side people. But it's like, okay, you have one perspective from the other side, which you weren't there. You just heard all the stories.
Yeah, and I heard was it Evan, one of the creators of Dark Side, he did an interview on Post Wrestling with John Pollock, and he explained, they want to have The Rock on because he gives kind of like a more upbeat perspective. Like everyone else who was maybe involved at the time could be kind of bitter now a little bit. And so he wanted someone to have like a maybe more upbeat, positive mindset, even though The Rock was with the competition.
Nash said he was just stoned the whole time they interviewed him for it or whatever.
Oh my God. Jesus. Which I'm not surprised. Oh my God. So I need to catch up on that. I know the season finale is this
there's only 4 episodes.
4 episodes. So it's this Tuesday. So
I still need to watch episode 3.
All right. So what I want to do, and I think just for the sake of like summing up the week that was WWE, the hot week that it was.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about Clash at the Castle. We can go through the matches real quick and the results, and then the fallout that happened on Raw and SmackDown, respectively, with the players involved here. So Clash at the Castle in Scotland last Saturday. I'm really digging what WWE's been doing, which I touched on earlier was WrestleMania, was back in April. And from that point on, every 3 weeks, there's been something else, another big show. Backlash was 3 weeks after WrestleMania. Then King of the Ring was 3 weeks later after that. And then 3 weeks after that was Clash at the Castle in Scotland. It feels like WWE back in, what was that, 2016? Remember when they redid the brand splits and like Raw and SmackDown had exclusive pay-per-views each month. And so it was a WWE pay-per-view every 2 weeks at that time, if I remember correctly. So it kind of feels like that vibe again, where it's like we got something every few weeks to look forward to, a big show. And I mean, me personally, I'm not like burnt out. I was worried at first, like, would I get burnt out? I'm like, oh, too many big shows. But other than like, a couple mainstays, like a Cody Rhodes, who's been on every show so far. Let's see, Damian Priest, I think he's been on every show so far. It's the world champions. But other than that, I like how Triple H has kept it to 5 matches each. I know King of the Ring, they had a pre-show match to make it 6 total. Yeah. But I feel like he's been doing a good job of like rotating in the other different wrestlers to fill up the other spots for the 5 matches per show. So it's been kind of keeping fresh from that perspective. So Tim, I just kind of want to get your quick thoughts on just kind of the state of WWE right now. I mean, they're red hot, ratings are good, they're selling out arenas. And, your thoughts on them going to different parts of the world right now for all these outside, like these B-level pay-per-views, and the fact they've been so frequent every 3 weeks.
Well, I think it's very good for WWE. And we know Nick Khan said the thing of he wants the big pay-per-views in North America, Canada, and the United States. We don't know about Mexico if we're going to go down there and do anything, maybe another show in Puerto Rico or whatever. But keeping Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and I guess Money in the Bank to an extent, at least for this year in North America is great. And then you have all those other shows. So that's 5. But then you still have 7 other shows, if I'm doing the math correctly off the top of my head, that could be anywhere in the world. Yeah. And we don't even know past SummerSlam what we're getting and where we're getting it. And with the way WWE's booking right now, which I feel like they're just taking this from, the UFC, it's, hey, what market outside of the country is hot that we think we can do well in, that we either haven't been for a while or has just been really asking for us to come back. And I think it's great that we're getting all this stuff because now we're getting different crowds as well. We're getting, all the European chants and all the European crowds, and the way they react is different than the way the fans are going to react here in the United States. And what I'm also liking is the fact that they're bringing SmackDown there as well. If the pay-per-view's on a Saturday, well, that Friday, they're also getting SmackDown. It's not like, double taping in the US. So they're going to get, a burnt out crowd on that go home show because it's their 4th hour of watching, SmackDown. Granted, if they hadn't got any pre-show matches before, like if they were taping Speed or Main Event, then that's their 5th hour. And there's always a burnt out crowd.
What I do like about that, though, with SmackDown taking place in the same city of the premium live event is it's a combination of things. I mean, you have like your go home moments of that show before the big show the next day. But also, they'll put matches on that were maybe like that close of being maybe worthy of being on the premium live event, like the main show. But like maybe the story is just a tad not as popular. I don't know if that's the right term, but you know what I mean? It's like close to like being pay-per-view quality. But instead, they'll just put it on, on SmackDown, on Fox. And so you're still having a pretty stacked episode of SmackDown.
And if you remember when Gunther was the international or intercontinental champion on SmackDown, when they would do that kind of stuff where like he wouldn't get to defend the title on the pay-per-view, but he'd be the SmackDown main event the night before.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, that's the one thing I love about Gunther's intercontinental title reign. He main evented so many episodes of Raw as well, where I think that's what made the title prestige was like, okay, maybe there's just not room for him on like a premium live event or they just want to shoehorn it in every month. But I like how he main evented like at least 1 or 2 episodes of Raw a month. And I love that because it's like it made the title feel important. It's like it's main eventing a show. It might not be a premium live event, but it's main eventing an episode of Raw. And he would still give it pretty good time, a couple commercial breaks, and he was putting on banger matches. So I totally love that. And that's something if I ever talk to Gunther again, I would love to ask him just, was that part of the strategy of like rehabilitating the IC titles? Like they're putting emphasis main eventing episodes of Raw. But also what I like about SmackDown and the premium live event back to back in that same city, it kind of goes back to the old days of, NXT takeovers and that were on a Saturday and then the pay-per-view on Sunday. So you still kind of like back-to-back shows. So going back to what I was saying earlier was like a stacked episode of SmackDown with matches almost good enough to be on the pay-per-view, but instead they just fill up SmackDown and then the next day premium live event. So you're getting like two big shows. So it's almost like that vibe again, like back-to-back days of just nonstop big time matches from WWE, which I love. And then and I'm with you. Like, I think it's smart. Like, keep in mind, what is WWE stand for? World Wrestling Entertainment. Yeah. They're putting the emphasis back on the world. It makes sense. Like, for so long, they were just always stuck in North America, and like once a year or twice a year, they might do a European tour, do a bunch of house shows. They would just void at other markets and other countries. So I think it's a smart move to go to these other parts of the world for these B-level pay-per-views. The crowds are hot because they're hitting markets they haven't been to in a long time. So people are like super excited. They're putting so much energy into the show because they know this is probably their one time of the year they're going to get a show like this. So they're going to make sure they stand out. So I feel like it's been like a competition amongst wrestling fans in different parts of the world. It's like, okay, we got this big show like Australia earlier this year for Elimination Chamber. We better go all out. Okay, France had Backlash. We better go all out. Scotland, last weekend, we better go all out. Saudi Arabia as well. So I think that's smart because you're going to hit crowds who are going to be hot and like who will appreciate and really value this opportunity that they have. And no offense to us people in North America, but I think some people are a little desensitized. And, I think sometimes they're so used to it. Like, oh, WWE back in 6 months. I could see it again. And,
or it's like, oh, WWE ain't coming back for a while. AEW is coming close. I can go see one of their shows.
Yeah. And, we are kind of spoiled here in North America for that. And so hopefully it's a wake up call to like US audience. Like, guys, when WWE's in your town, be the best audience member that you can be. Like, get off your phone and like enjoy the show, be part of the crowd, get involved, be a respectable fan out there. So, I'm loving all these international shows, and it makes these B-level pay-per-views feels big time as well with the hot crowd. So I'm all for it.
And with that, this really all started in 2018 when they started doing the Saudi stuff for the point of those early Saudi crowds weren't like great or anything.
Yeah.
But it got WWE out of their mindset of we have to have shows in the United States because of the time difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing the shows in Saudi kind of opened them up to, people are still watching and basically all the same numbers. And so
by the way,
we go to an Australia and do it at 2:00 in the morning in the United States, or we go to France and it's at 5:00 in the afternoon or 3:00 in the afternoon, or whatever. People are still going to watch, and I think them going to Saudi and striking that deal and then kind of being forced to do 2 or 3 Saudi shows a year open them up to yes, the big show should stay in, the Pacific, Central, Eastern time zones, but all the other stuff, people will still watch.
Yeah. And by the way, maybe because I'm older now, I love turning on, Peacock at 11 a.m. on a Saturday and watching
done by 2.
Be done by 2, man. I love it. And I still got the rest of my Saturday to do whatever I want and have like keep my other plans for Saturday evening intact. So I love these early shows just from my perspective. I can watch and get stuff done.
So the last 3 times they've done the international SmackDowns, they aired live in the UK on TNT Sport. So if you know what you're doing, you can get a feed of that and watch it in the United States early.
Okay.
So it would be, I'm trying to do the time difference now because the last ones I was still in California for that. So it was like I was watching SmackDown at 10:00 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So that's awesome. You just get a TNT Sport feed off of one of these bootleg websites, and then you're watching SmackDown early. Granted, it's going to come on at normal time on Fox later.
Yeah.
You've already watched it. You can go make your spoiler videos and all that kind of stuff. Like, hey, here's what happened. This was good. It's a worthy show. Go watch it tonight. Or it was okay if you miss anything. But yeah, so that's another thing they've been doing is when they're filming them, whether that was in France, Saudi Arabia, or Wales, Cardiff, they were airing live though in the UK on TNT Sport.
Gotcha. Okay, good little tip there. To catch it early. I mean, that'd be great. If I could watch it Friday, early Friday, and stuff my Friday night plans as well. Man, thank you for that. So, all right, so let's go ahead and jump into Clash at the Castle in Scotland. So this is the second ever Clash in the Castle. The first one was 2 years ago in Cardiff. This year in Scotland, the big appeal going into this was Drew McIntyre wrestling in his home country. Hopefully going for the world heavyweight title, hopefully to win the world heavyweight title off Damian Priest, which we'll get into the results in a second here. Which I know by now everyone knows what happened, but we'll get our thoughts on it. Let's just go down through the card in order. So the opening match, which I love this order, they in WWE when they have two world heavyweight championships for the last 20 plus years, the WWE title has always been, or for the most part, always been the one that gets more favoritism. Usually main events is the last match of the show. The world heavyweight title in whatever era or version of it.
Well, I can contradict
unless
that
when Triple H was champion.
Exactly, I was about to say, unless Triple H had that big gold belt.
Yes, please, excuse me. But with that being said, the world heavyweight title outside of Triple H's reign, it's either in the middle of the card or somewhere and doesn't get as much emphasis. But I love
an 18-second match at WrestleMania.
Yes, Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. Yep. But I love for this one night only, because it was Drew McIntyre from Scotland going after the title against Damian Priest. They made that main event, and therefore they had Cody defend the WWE Championship, the undisputed WWE Championship, versus AJ Styles, kick off the show. And once again, him and AJ had another great match. This was an I Quit match. I think their match at Backlash was a little bit better. This one was still fun, and they fought all over the place and went back into the ring. And at one point, AJ was trying to talk some ass to Mama Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' mom. The finish ultimately, saw Cody grab the steel steps and had AJ handcuffed in the corner, and he threatened to throw the stairs at him. AJ said, I quit. And that was it. Cody wins, retains the WWE Championship. A little bit of a different finish, I Quit matches. Those are always kind of tricky because, how do you force someone to say I quit? Because I know, one of the more recent ones was it Edge versus Judgment Day, and they threatened to, beat the head of his wife, Beth Phoenix, and Edge was forced to say I quit because he didn't want his wife to get her head beaten in, but they still did it. Yeah, concerto. So there's been different.
That was a great finish and a great way to utilize the I Quit stipulation.
Yeah, exactly. But I just want to get your thoughts on this opening match with Cody and AJ Styles.
Well, I love this match. Now, again, like you've said, and I agree, I would give the Backlash. Oh, I did give the Backlash match. Usually, I don't give star ratings. But that Backlash match, I gave 5 stars. This one, I would give more like 4.5.
Yeah,
maybe 4.5. So maybe I'm sitting more at a 4. Yeah. But I loved the match. I thought it was well played out. Cody and AJ are great opponents for one another, especially the babyface Cody and the heel AJ work so well together. And now you got to think of where this can lead to, because I've seen the speculations online. Cody or AJ said I quit. Does that mean he's gonna not show up because he wasn't on SmackDown that we saw this week? So it's is he gonna? Does that mean he quit WWE? Is he gonna show up somewhere else? Maybe go to TNA because they're doing their 20th anniversary stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's could they be getting an AJ Styles? Because I was told, hey, everyone's upset that WWE's getting the better part of this deal with TNA. Yep. Let it play out. It's still early in the partnership and the relationship. Let it play out, and things may come bigger than a Tatum Paxley.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the AJ and Cody match goes, I love a spot when Cody throws the chair right at AJ's head. He bounces down, goes through the table, off the apron, and everything.
I love that spot. I know some people were kind of hating on Twitter or trying to make fun of it. And I mean, there were some funny videos like cartoon noises or Sonic the Hedgehog coins flying, all fun stuff. But I love that spot. It just,
I'm gonna say overall, I thought the match was really good. I thought it was a perfect opener, and then the stuff afterwards, the post-match stuff, which is building up him and Solo, which apparently is not even happening till SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So now the question is, and we can talk about this when we get to the SmackDown stuff, though, is this going to lead to a 6-man tag at Money in the Bank? And if it is, who from the Bloodline is going to not be in the 6-man tag? Because now there's 4 of them, not just 3 of them.
There. Okay, good. Well,
because if it's Cody, Randy, Kevin, is it Solo, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, or is it Solo, Jacob, and one of the Tongans? And if so, who? Most likely, I could see it being Cody, Orton, Owens on one side, Solo, Tamatonga, and Jacob Fatu, not Tangaloa, on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards, because just Tonga, no offense to him,
His knees are bad. His knees are bad. Tangaloa.
Yeah. So he's been moving really slow, I kind of feel like. But
if you saw some of his matches last year in New Japan, like his G1 stuff, he was moving pretty bad. His knees are hurting him.
Oh man, is he able to get surgery or something? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just trying to tough it out until downtime. But I mean, he's in one of the top factions right now. I'm sure he doesn't want to ruin this opportunity and take time off. So he's probably just toughing it out. Man, that's why he hasn't wrestled many matches yet. I don't think.
I think so. I don't know for sure, but yeah.
Okay. Well, for Cody though, people have been kind of criticizing his title reign so far. It's been underwhelming. It's like, yeah, because it's post WrestleMania. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, I feel like a lot of people post WrestleMania have like wrestling fatigue, and I think it's always natural late April and May, people maybe like, whoa, I just spent January, February, March, April, Royal Rumble season, road to WrestleMania season. Like, I think a lot of casual people are like really, unless they cover this for a living, they take a step back, like, okay, I need to decompress a little bit, take some time off, or, I've been watching wrestling nonstop for a few months, some people just casually take a break. And so there's always kind of like this down period this time of the year. And then they start revving back up at the start of summer and they build up to SummerSlam. And as you and I have talked about already, just what an exciting week for WWE was. Triple H is cooking as the booker, and he's getting things revved up in place for Money in the Bank in 2 weeks now. And then SummerSlam after that in August. So it's like, here we are. They're starting to cook things back up, get things going again for the summer season, which I'm excited for. And I'm already excited for fall season. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Survivor Series will be War Games Part 3 on the main roster, which I think we all can kind of vision what that lineup could be, that matchup, which you can talk about in a second.
I wanted to ask you about that later once we talk about the new Bloodline and everything.
It has to be. So
who's on what side? Though,
true.
And what do we? So
yeah. So with Cody though, you can't I think it's unfair to crap on his title reign so far. I think he's had 3 great matches, 2 with AJ,
4-star matches and above through all 3 title offenses. So it's like, how can you say that it's been lackluster when it's like the first AJ match was a 5-star match.
Yeah.
The Logan Paul match was easily a 4-star match. And then the other AJ match was a 4 to 4.5-star match.
Exactly. And the crowd's still hot. He's still selling merch. I'm loving this title reign. I hope he keeps the belt as long as he can.
I think he should hold it for a year and drop it next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all for that. So, No, so anyway, it's things are going good, I think, on SmackDown with WWE, with Cody as the WWE champion. All good stuff. I'm loving it. Do want to acknowledge, I love AJ. Was it 2 weeks before Clash at the Castle? He fake retired, pulled the Mark Henry, act like he's going to retire, swerved everyone.
Don't trust a wrestler in a pastel suit.
And announcing their retirement. But yes, he swerved Cody and beat him up, which led to their match. So I just want to acknowledge.
Styles Clash off the steps to the floor.
That was awesome. All good stuff. So we'll talk more about Cody in a bit. We're talking about Jacob Fatu's debut. But yeah, AJ, I think him and Cody, since Cody's 2-0, you just let that. You're done. It was announced AJ is going to appear in Noah, right? With
he's going to face Marufuji on July 13th.
Okay, so
and I think the rumor is Gallows and Anderson will be going with him.
Okay, cool. So we could talk about WWE work with other promotions when we talk about
WWE
Joe
will
Hendry.
be doing WWE will be doing 3 shows in Japan themselves at the end of the month, like a week and a half after that match.
Awesome. Okay,
so they're going from like, I want to say it's like the 25th, 26th, and 27th. WWE's doing 3 shows in Japan, 3 house shows.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about Joe Hendry and all that stuff there. But no, awesome stuff. But yeah, I think AJ, keep him off TV for a while and then let him do his stuff with Noah. And then I like what you said. I think he can easily do something with TNA in the near future. All right, next up for the women's tag team titles, it was the Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending against the Unholy Union and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. And this match, how can I say this?
Jade didn't look good.
It started out okay. It started out okay, and then definitely about halfway through started getting a little sloppy. I think everyone was moving really fast, and
Jay blamed the ropes being slippery.
Yeah, some people who were not as experienced as other people, their flaws came through at that point. I would imagine the silver lining is it's a learning experience for everyone involved, and especially the more newer wrestlers. You know, how do you respond in that situation?
So did you see the video of Jade and Bianca leaving the ring, walking up the ramp after that match?
Where Bianca,
she's like, hey, chin up, just keep, telling her, hey, we lost. We may have, match may not be all that great, but chin up, still, take it how. Basically, she was telling her, you ain't gonna win them all.
Yeah, and it's fine. Like I think I do want to applaud the other women in this match because if you watch closely, a lot of these tag matches, I mean, here and also was it King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring night, or they defended against Candice and Indy, and then was it Backlash as well. But I mean, when the other women wrestlers are in the ring, you could see they're helping Jade out, like making sure she's going in the right direction or the right spot.
If you look at Backlash, Kyrie not as much. She was still going as fast as Kyrie Sane likes to go. So
yeah, but also with Jade, they make her look like $1 million because there was that one old school test of strength spot where they were trying to push down Jade Cargill, but then she overcame that and like pushed them back off. Such an old school wrestling trait of like showing someone how strong they are, but it made Jade Cargill look like $1 million, like a strong presence in the ring. I loved it. So I gotta give the other women wrestlers in this match credit. Like they made Jade Cargill look like a strong badass. But yeah, big shocker here. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn picked up the victory here and are the new women tag team champions. And I will admit what I thought was kind of cool about this show in Scotland. I guess Triple H was like, all right, every Scottish wrestler on this roster is going to wrestle this night. And I think looking on paper, a lot of people thought they were the last ones potentially winning this night. I saw some people doing predictions for this. I think a lot of people, they were the last ones to win, but now, spoiler alert, they were the only Scottish descent.
Technically, one of the matches with Scottish wrestlers, there had to be a Scottish wrestler winning. So you weren't doing Drew. You didn't want to take the title off of Bailey. Yeah. It was your only choice. And then did you see the other stuff people were trying to say online? Oh, they only did it because they wanted to give some sympathy to Alba Fire because what happened to her mom.
Yeah. So her mom tragically passed away a few weeks ago, car accident while visiting her in Florida.
Yeah. Her mom and dad were like walking across the street, got hit by a truck. Her dad got hurt. Her mom ended up unfortunately passing. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's the only reason and like the dumb internet fans, that's the only reason they gave her the belt, just to make her feel good.
People suck sometimes.
Yeah.
Just with their takes. It's like, come on. But yes, as far as this moment, I thought in the moment, it was really cool to see the two of them win. I mean, obviously they've been with WWE for a while now with NXT UK, then coming to NXT and then moving up to the main roster. While it was such a good moment to see them win, and it was a cool way how they won. It was a little shocking because they've been kind of cold. They haven't been really used much on the main roster. So this win felt kind of sudden, and
they got dominated the Monday before by Shayna and Zoe.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which, if you think about it, though, I don't like this because they weren't the champions at the time, but it kind of sets up Shayna and Zoe eventually challenging them because it's like, oh, we dominated you.
Yeah.
You didn't beat, I mean, I don't like it because they, yes, got dominated the week before when they weren't the champions, and then they beat Shayna at the pay-per-view. So it's like, Shayna and Zoe did the thing on Raw, like, oh, hold our titles, we're coming for you eventually. And it's like, no, yeah, you may have beat them before they won the belts, but then you were the ones that lost the tag title match itself. So back of the line.
Yeah. So now moving forward, on SmackDown this week, we saw Bianca Belair. She had a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. She lost. Chelsea Green picked up the victory. But her and Jade did talk backstage, and
get a rematch.
Jade says she wants a rematch because they didn't get pinned. Bianca says, yeah, we can get to that, but I got to focus on my match here. And I guess Jade has a match next week for Money in the Bank qualifying. What do you think? Do you think Jade and Bianca should go back for those tag titles? Or
for me, so to me, it's tough because it's like if they get a rematch, I don't see them losing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't want flip-flopping these belts. We flip-flop these women's tag team titles enough. Like, I don't want Alba Fire. I don't want Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to hold them for 2-3 weeks.
Exactly.
Like, I want them to have a month at most, or at least a month, maybe 2 months with the tag titles. Get 1 or 2 defenses in there. But it would just be like, why even do the title change? And I get why, because they're in Scotland. Some Scottish wrestler had to win. But it's like, why even do the title change if you're just going to take it right back off of them?
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope they have a decent title reign, and I think the earliest that you should take it off them should be SummerSlam. But you're right. Give them maybe a match at Money in the Bank, maybe on the pre-show. Definitely a couple title defenses on SmackDown over the next couple months.
Well, but I'm with on Raw because they're the only champs that can go back and forth.
That's right. Hell, give them some time on NXT as well. Let them do. They've been sending a lot of people NXT lately, which I think is great. Michin's been down there. The OC been down there. Other people as well. Let them defend easily. Yeah, defend on episode of SmackDown, episode of Raw, and episode of NXT at some point over the next couple months. That's 3 defenses right there.
Send them to TNA.
Yeah, that too.
Let them defend the titles of Slammiversary.
Totally. Anything. If they do drop them, though, yes, I do think Jade and Bianca should get it back at SummerSlam. Because I know long-term, I'm guessing the plan is you want Jade versus Bianca at some point.
Maybe but I think Mania?
Yes, I think the only place to do that, though, is at WrestleMania because there's such both big stars.
Right.
It should be done on the biggest stage in the world, which is WrestleMania. So with that being said, that's still far away. Like that is 10 months away from now, 9 months you guys build. So I think as a placeholder, let them regain the tag titles, have another title reign with them, and then drop it. You can drop it maybe Royal Rumble or something and start laying the foundation for their split and one turning on the other and then start the road to WrestleMania there. So that's what I'm thinking.
Like my question for you is, do you like, and don't think of it as just her and Jade, but her in a tag team overall. Do you like Bianca in a tag team?
I think yes, as far as it keeps her out of the main event picture scene.
Yeah, outside I would say.
Because she's been dominant for the last few years. See, think about it. Ever since she won against Sasha Banks a few years ago, she has been in that main event title picture, either Raw or SmackDown, for the last few years. She's had a lot of great matches, feuds, going back obviously to Sasha Banks, to Bayley, to Becky Lynch. She has been a dominant force. However, I think to kind of get away from that scene right now, a good way to keep her occupied and busy is with the tag team title picture. I think that's a great spot, and also work with Jay, kind of get her up to speed on the main event roster. Her build up her like skills. We talk about
the whole you don't win them all, take your licks, this and that. Because like in AEW, Jade was just, and I don't know how it's been with her in WWE behind the scenes and stuff, but we know in AEW she was catered to tremendously. And so it's like she won over 60 matches, had the title defenses with the TBS title. And so like she was used to it always being about her. So now in WWE, it's like, no, you're a team player more of, you're not going to win them all, but at the same time, you can't look like, oh, I'm disappointed because I lost, or, oh, somebody else beat you, well, you got to be happy for them because it's about the product itself and not just about you now.
Yeah. So that's my thing is for Bayley, she's, the champion right now on SmackDown. She had a match with Piper. Will have a match against Nia Jax at SummerSlam as of right now, because Nia was Queen of the Ring winner. Yeah. So I like how Triple H is trying to get fresh opponents in that main event title picture scene for Bayley. And so, yeah, it's easy to put Bianca back in there, but been there, done that for so long. Give some other people a fresh opportunity. So what better way to kind of keep her busy away from that scene by then making her tag team champion, or work with Jade, build up their chemistry, their storyline, and eventually their split, and that can set up a WrestleMania match. And so that can keep her busy for the rest of the year. So I think it's a smart move right now. So, but yes, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, I hope they do get a nice run with these tag titles. Do some fun stuff. Yeah, do stuff on Raw, do stuff on NXT, SmackDown, all that. Just give them a nice couple month title reign at least. So, all right, next up, IC title time. Sami Zayn defending against Chad Gable. I mean, you can argue probably best match of the night from a technical standpoint. Awesome stuff. The big story here is obviously Chad Gable, since he's been heel, been really being a bully to the rest of the Alpha Academy. Otis has been in that role of like, does he stick up for the other people in the Alpha Academy and like stick it to Chad Gable and beat up the bully? He's been like, stuck. It's like such turmoil. It's like Chad's been his best friend and done all this stuff for him, and Chad's playing mind games, being a narcissist, and like telling him like, hey, I helped you get here. You follow my orders. This is all you know. Keep doing what I'm saying. Follow me. But at the same time, Otis knows he's changed and he's being mean to other people, and it's not right. So it's questioning his morale and ethics here. And I love that story. And I love Sammy being the good guy, trying to make some sense. It's like, hey, I've been in that situation. I'm you. What you're going through is what I went through in the Bloodline. So long-term storytelling, making full circle. I love this stuff. Ultimately, we saw Chad lose, Sammy win. Chad, went for Sammy, but tripped Maxine. Otis, let's see, he hit her, right? I'm trying to remember. God, it was like last weekend, but then Sammy picked up the victory.
Let me see. Otis carrying Maxine to the back.
Yeah, carrying Maxine to the back. Chad Gable just looked so like defeated, like, oh my God, I lost again to Sammy. Because you think about it, they lost after WrestleMania when they had their match and he went heel.
With the IC title on the line, he lost twice to Sammy and once to Gunther with the IC title on the line.
Yes.
In just the past year.
Yeah, and the triple threat with Bronson at Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, Chad, even though he's a heel, he feels so defeated. It's like he cannot win this gold that he wants. And then Sammy walking out was like, no more. I'm done with you.
And then I know we'll talk about the Wyatt stuff. The Chad Gable stuff is kind of weird because it was like the Wyatts killed him, and then he wasn't cleared for next week's Raw. And then Adam Pearce comes back on Twitter and is like, "No, Chad Gable's cleared. The match is not Ilya Dragunov." What?
Yeah, I know. I was a little taken back by that too. Which we could talk about Chad's role in the Wyatt 6 debut, but jumping ahead to Raw. Well, okay. I want to get your thoughts on the match itself, but then jumping ahead to Raw. We saw that Chad lost to Braun Strowman, got mad, and was taking it out on Alpha Academy. But Otis actually stood up to him, pushed him, but then walked away. He didn't fully beat him up, but he told him, or you could tell physically, he was like, "Hey, I could put you down if I need to, but I'm just going to walk away here." So Otis walks away with the rest of Alpha Academy. What do you think is going to happen with Chad Gable here? At some point, Otis is going to have to take him out and beat him up. Completely. It's leading to a match between the two of them.
Like I said, we saw a couple things with Chad Gable on Raw.
Yeah.
So we saw Chad Gable lose to Braun Strowman, and then Otis shoved him. But Otis was like, "I shoved you down, but I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to have to physically harm you. I still, respect you and love you as a friend, and this and that. They're close as brothers and whatnot. But I can't take this anymore, and it's not right what you're doing to Maxine and Tozawa." And then we get the backstage segment where Chad's trying to talk them all up, and then Otis is just like, "I'm done."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the show, Chad Gable's got like a bullet hole in his head or whatever.
I know, from the Wyatt Six. So
and they tell us on main event, oh, he's not cleared. He's not going to wrestle in the ladder match qualifier. And then like a day later, we got Adam Pearce going, nope, talk to medical. He's cleared. So saying where is Chad Gable going next? I have no clue, because at one point he was massacred and not cleared, and now he's cleared. So is he coming back from the dead?
True. My thing is, so I think eventually Chad's gonna win that IC title. Well,
I thought he was winning a Clash at the Castle, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and here's the thing: Chad Gable did just sign a new contract, so he's in for the long haul.
True. That they did bring that up. So yeah, he did sign a new contract. Sammy, real quick, not to go off too tangent here, but he was confronted by Braun Breaker and Sheamus, so he's got two new fresh people coming after him for the IC title.
Braun Breaker needs to win that belt so bad.
Yeah. Well, I like how for Sami Zayn, every new opponent, it's two people. It's always a triple threat for him. So I feel like his title reign has been triple threat after triple threat, which is fine. Getting more people involved on TV.
I think Braun Breaker winning that title at SummerSlam would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. I'm sure at Money in the Bank, it'll probably be a triple threat with Sheamus, Braun Breaker, Sammy. Something happens, Sammy retains, and then Braun versus Sammy one-on-one at SummerSlam. That's probably what's going to happen here.
Yeah, because Braun Breaker, at least for tomorrow, is not in a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. He's facing Ludwig Kaiser. So I don't even know if they're going to put Braun in Money in the Bank or not.
Yeah, so I know Sheamus wants the IC title, because that's the last title. He needs to be a Grand Slam champion. But also, he's got a little storyline going with Ludwig Kaiser. So a lot going on in that IC title picture right now. Did you see what
Undertaker said on his podcast about Ludwig?
No, actually, I was watching about the first 30 minutes of him and Chris Van Vliet, but I did not.
So he said that he could see Ludwig Kaiser being like the next big, great, just villainous heel.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I can see that. He's got that punchable face. He's got that snarky face. When you see it, you just want to punch him in the face, which is great for being a heel.
What did Sheamus call him? The Ken doll?
Yes. Well, and hey, he's in real life in a relationship with Tiffany Stratton, and she is Barbie to the fullest. So it makes sense. So originally I thought Chad Gable was going to win the IC title, and like it would be like a mid-card version of the Bloodline, as far as like Otis. He's the good guy, but he's in this heel faction, and everyone wants to see him get out of there and like beat up Chad Gable. But now Sammy's off with the IC title doing other things. Wonder what's next for Chad Gable. The only thing I could think of is he recruits the Creed brothers, because they've been like kind of teasing. They've been like acknowledging each other backstage. The Creed brothers have been kind of cold for a while now on Raw. What better way to kind of jump their careers, align with Chad Gable and kind of like a modern day of Team Angle kind of version.
Right.
But also this new heel Alpha Academy takes out Otis and the rest of them, and that kind of sets up a match with Otis at some point. So I think that's what could potentially happen here, is we get the Creed brothers involved and make them go heel. I think that's what could happen next there. So Sami Zayn wins, and as I said, he's now got to deal with Braun Breaker and Sheamus, and Chad Gable and Otis are still going at it. So we'll see what happens on Raw this week. All right, WWE Women's Championship match: Bayley versus Piper Niven. Piper Niven, another Scottish wrestler who got to be featured on the show. Very happy for her. Bayley did pick up the win, so cool for Bayley. Just ranking up victories just to kind of add to her title reign right now. Outside of that, we see on SmackDown, she's just more watching the TV and just paying attention to these qualifying matches and who can be contenders in that Money in the Bank women's match.
They teased something with her and Blair Davenport on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly. That too. So I wonder, well, it's kind of too early to tell. Like,
we don't know everybody in the ladder match yet.
And then therefore, does
even
Bayley...
though we don't, I'm right now, my prediction, I want Chelsea Green to win that briefcase so bad.
That'd be really interesting to see her win. The pop she got when she won this week on SmackDown and snuck out that victory.
Chelsea Green is great at playing the role of surprising herself. Did you see on SmackDown when she hit the dive and it actually worked and she was like, oh!
I know, yeah. She's just always like, oh my God, I did that.
Because we know that Chelsea Green is an awesome pro wrestler, and when she actually, quote unquote, tries and not doing the gimmick is awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder, will Blair be in that ladder match, or could Blair get a one-on-one match with Bayley for Money in the Bank? Or so it's kind of hard to say right now. We just have to kind of wait to see what happens the next couple of weeks on SmackDown. But no, kudos to Piper just having that opportunity to, get that big match in her home country.
I will say though, in my opinion, the match was just all right. Like, it wasn't anything great or anything. The Chelsea thing, getting kicked out and then coming back wearing a mask.
Oh yes, the Rey Mysterio mask.
I don't know.
On a side note, so Bayley's next opponent will be Nia Jax SummerSlam if she's still champion come August, because who knows what happened to Money in the Bank first. But Nia Jax aligning herself with Tiffany Stratton. Your thoughts on that? As far as
they're friends in real life. They do TikToks together all the time. So
okay,
it's kind of a natural thing for them.
Like two heels just being friendly to each other. So
they've been doing for a while. They've been doing a bunch of TikToks together, and like when they were flying to other countries, they were posting videos of them together, on the plane and this and that. So they've become friendly and whatnot, and so it's cool. They've got a great rapport together and a great friendship that's growing, and so put them together on TV, and I think it'll work well.
Nice. Okay, main event time. World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest defending against Drew McIntyre. What an entrance for Drew McIntyre in his home country. Yeah. How loud it got with the decibels, that decibel meter.
Now, do we know if the decibel meter was legit or gimmicked? Was it gimmicked?
I'm sure it was gimmicked to a certain extent, if I had to guess, just to make it sound bigger than what it was. But yes, I am rocking a Drew McIntyre shirt, by the way. But the match itself was awesome. I thought a little scary spot, as we all know. Damian Priest was trying to step over the ring rope, but his foot got caught, and he was like hanging by his foot. Amazingly, he did not get seriously injured, did not break an ankle or tear any ligaments. But he's hanging there, and you could tell Drew was kind of like, "Oh my God, what just happened?"
So he's like kicking him a little bit, but he's like, "Dude, what do we got to get him out of this?"
Yeah, like he froze, and I think he like stopped and looked, and I'm sure, as best he could, Damian was probably alerting him, "Hey, I'm okay. And then that's when Drew came running over and acted like he was starting to kick him. Then the ref was trying to get him break out of the ropes, but Drew, to his credit, ad-libbing on the spot, was like, "Hey, I can't win the title if he's just hanging off the rope. I got to get him out of the rope." So that justified Drew helping Damian get out of the ropes, because he's like, "I need to beat him by pinfall." So that was a smart move on his part as far as kayfabe goes. Drew dominates towards the end. There was a ref bump. The ref's out. Drew hits the Claymore, going for the count. No ref in sight. The crowd's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, going on and on. Perfectly. I love how they shot this ending. It was from the backside. Drew, does his normal pin where he I don't know how to describe it, where he kind of he lays on top of the person, and he does his own style of a pinfall where he leans his head back, and he doesn't see. He's looking up at the ceiling. You see a ref slide in, but it's the back of them. You don't see their head, their face. And I knew right away something was up, because you see the slick back hair, a ref wearing Jordans. I was like, that's not normal.
Well, I knew it wasn't a real ref when you noticed he had the long sleeves under the ref shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Goes for the 1, 2, stops. Big reveal. It was CM Punk wearing a referee shirt.
Yep.
And Drew is shocked, but then pissed, and then was distracted. Damian turned around, hit the South of Heaven, picked up the victory. The real ref came back in, right? I was trying to remember. Yes. Okay, because CM Punk cannot officially, I would say officially.
Did you see how Punk got the shirt?
Yeah, from Jessica Carr in the back. That was
so. There's a little continuity mix up here, because Priest said in his interview during the press conference afterwards that he had saw Punk near gorilla position wearing the shirt. But then the video of Punk getting the shirt, you can hear the Priest Drew match going on at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "I need a shirt. Jessica, give me a shirt." She said, "What do you mean give me a shirt?" He's like, "Here's the next shirt." And then he runs out to the ring. So it's like, and that's just me nitpicking, of course. But
yeah, I do love that detail though. They use social media to add to that story and explain how did CM Punk got to where he was with the ref shirt. I love also he like raised up the two fingers, the two count. But if I remember correctly, well, one, this is like in Europe, this is the symbolism for a middle finger, right? That's their version of the middle finger.
I don't know, is it?
I think so. This
gotcha.
Where you hold the back of your hand up, not like forward. The back of your finger, holding up two fingers. I think that's the middle finger in Europe. Also, keep in mind that's why Drew, when he cost CM Punk his WrestleMania match, he had that cemetery photo. And he had the two finger up as well. So it's like CM Punk coming full circle. Like, okay, you did the two finger salute to me. I'm going to do the two finger salute to you. But also it means like F you, but also you only got a two count.
So it says in certain Commonwealth countries, including the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and South America, an outward-facing V sign is an obscene gesture equivalent to giving someone the middle finger. The gesture is often performed by flicking the V up from the wrist or elbow. Yeah.
Okay. Man, so everyone watching right now thinks if you're watching this in Europe, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to flip you off. So anyway, so that's cool. But also, like you said, that photo of Drew in front of the cemetery that they Photoshop, he was doing the two finger thing as well.
Now it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So it was just like, peace, brother.
No, yeah. It's like it's a two count, but also
there's a real meaning. Okay.
F you as well. So it's a double meaning there.
Got it.
Perfect full circle moment. I love that. So cool. Your thoughts on just that finish right there?
Oh, no, I thought the match itself was great. The crowd was awesome throughout the whole match. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest blew my expectations out of the water. I knew they would have a good match, but the match itself was better than I expected. Like, before the shenanigans with the referee stuff and everything, I thought, like I said, those two worked very well together. Great spots, except for the leg spot, but also good on Priest to sell it throughout the remainder of the match and play it up like he was actually hurt. Now, he was probably not 100% coming out of that spot, but he wasn't seriously injured to where they think anything bad's going to happen to him. He was on Raw the next night. I think he had a slight limp, and I don't know if he was still just selling it or he was just like, oh, it's bugging me a little. But overall, I thought they had a great match. I thought it was awesome. And now it's like, okay, next time they go to the UK, or at least go to Scotland, I would say, what are they going to do there? Is Drew going to eventually have the belt by then? Or are they going to be like, no, we're going to go back there, and Drew's going to win the belt from somebody this time? And also now it's playing up when are we getting Drew and Punk? Most likely SummerSlam. Yet CM Punk was destroyed and killed by Drew on SmackDown after he quit on Raw, which that's a whole other storyline.
Yeah.
So, no, I think... Unfortunately, and I hate when this happens, Damian Priest and the world title was really secondary to where they're getting at with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And I hate when your top title on a brand is secondary to something else.
Yeah. It's really amazing. One, this feud that's kind of organically came after an accident, which I'm referring to the Royal Rumble when Drew did the Future Shock DDT on CM Punk, and he really legit tore his was it his tricep? Is that the tricep? Yeah. And it was an accident, but then it turned into a storyline as far as costing CM Punk being out for months and can be part of WrestleMania.
And one of the best back and forth builds, I guess you would call it, that we've seen in WWE in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Just what this has led into, this rivalry of the two of them going back and forth for weeks on end on episodes of Raw. It's been so entertaining. The promos, the back and forth. Drew trolling CM Punk's like, haha, I took away your main event opportunity. Because that's like the one thing CM Punk has left to accomplish is getting that main event opportunity at a WrestleMania. And so Drew, for right now, cost him that this year. And he's been trolling it up against him. And because Drew doesn't like CM Punk and thinks, him being back at WWE is a cancer, all that stuff. We all know that story. Yeah. But also for Drew, it's led into this amazing storyline that's carried out for the last few months. And it's so good. Like, some people are saying like, you don't even need a title involved.
No, you don't.
And it can lead to a big match at SummerSlam. I hope Drew wins the world title at some point, but now I think he's now going off away from the world title, and now it's going to focus on CM Punk. And now this frees up the opportunity for Damian Priest and Gunther at some point at SummerSlam. And then
Gunther better win that belt.
But then Bash in Berlin is not too far after that. So I wonder, does he win at SummerSlam or does he lose it, but then gets a rematch in Germany?
He wins at SummerSlam and gets to go to Berlin as the world champion, the big hero.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I think should happen.
And him and Ilya, just do it there. Do it in Berlin.
And I think, granted, they may want Cody to main event SummerSlam in Cleveland. I think Gunther winning the title in the main event of SummerSlam would be awesome.
Well, I do like your idea of the 3-on-3 6-man tag.
Well, that would be Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank to lead to Solo and Cody at SummerSlam.
Gotcha.
Because I don't see Solo and Cody as a main event, like a SummerSlam. I could see it as a Backlash, a Clash of the Castle main event, but not a SummerSlam main event, unfortunately. Yeah. And so, Gunther's red hot right now. Everyone wants to see Gunther win that world title. So why not the last thing we see at SummerSlam is Gunther standing in the ring with the world championship?
Holding up the title. Yeah, title change to end the show. Yeah. I know it's a heel, but still be good.
But everyone's going to be happy about it.
So, yeah, I love this is adding so much fuel to the fire. It's like, keep in mind, CM Punk cost Drew his world title that he won at WrestleMania. 5 minutes later, he knocked him down. Damian Priest was able to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase and drop it. So this back and forth, trolling each other, costing each other matches and title opportunities, it is like a red hot feud. Oh, yeah. Shout out to my buddy Alfred from Pro Wrestling Bits. He's compared this rivalry to Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in the 90s, how Bret was getting screwed over and said, I quit. We see that with Drew. So on Raw this week, so let's go ahead and jump ahead with Drew and CM Punk. So Drew comes on Raw this week, says, I quit. He's just tired of this place and just, it's unfair.
Screw this company.
He leaves. But then jump ahead to SmackDown. CM Punk shows up. I know he's a Raw guy, but it's SmackDown in Chicago. Of course he's going to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Cuts his promo with Paul Heyman.
So great. Heyman was awesome.
Just paraphrasing here. Paul Heyman's,
take me with you.
Tell CM Punk, listen, I know this is your town, but Solo does not like that. He heard on sports radio, people were saying this is CM Punk town, but Solo wants every town to be his town. And so Paul Heyman warned him, get out of here. The bloodline's going to come for you. But you got to do me a favor. And CM Punk's like, what's that favor? And he's like, take me with you. And so Solo and the bloodline like, what? You don't want to be with us anymore?
Why is he scared of Solo? What's the one thing that doesn't make sense? Why is he scared of Solo? I don't understand that.
Yeah, there's some plot holes with the bloodline I want to ask you.
Is it because Solo still has a direct line to Roman and for some reason he doesn't anymore? And so he thinks something bad's going to happen to him because of it? I don't know.
I'm so confused too, which we'll talk about with Jacob stuff. But the bloodline was trying to attack Punk. Cody Rhodes comes out to save, brings a couple baseball bats, and they scare off the bloodline. Jump ahead later in the night, we see DIY talking to Grayson Waller, and then they're by the garage entrance, and we hear bam, 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 lift up the garage door to the back of the arena, and CM Punk.
I love the way they did it because they didn't just roll the door up really quick. It went just up at a good speed. All of a sudden, you see Punk laying there. You go, what the heck? You start to see some legs, and you go, uh-oh, and then eventually it's Drew.
You get ever since TKO's taken over the production of Raw and SmackDown. I wouldn't
say it's TKO. It's more, it's the Lee Fitting that came from ESPN.
The new hires to run the TV. It's been so much better post Kevin Dunn leaving. Yep. But yeah, so okay, Drew McIntyre was not that gone that long. He quit for a few days. But yeah, he bashed CM Punk's head in the garage door wall, and then
bloodied him up,
carried him
to blood on both hands.
Oh my god, that visual carried him that one shot through the hallways, through Gorilla to the front of the SmackDown stage, drops him there, does the touch the ground like it's clobbering time, and then takes CM Punk's bracelet. That's his wife AJ and Larry.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what that is? It's like
I think
some sort of bracelet, but he puts it in his pocket. It's it's like a warrior, taking something from something they killed. So
Also,
a souvenir.
I think Nick Aldis is one of the best authority figures they've ever had, because he is not afraid to he walked out there and shoved Drew. Like, what the hell are you doing? Drew shoved him back, and Nick got right in his face. He's like, oh, we ain't doing this. You need to go. Like, not on my show. Like, no offense to Adam Pearce, because I think Adam Pearce is an awesome on-screen character. But I feel like, and they're building him back up, but Roman being able to just steamroll over Adam Pearce for so long kind of took his power away, per se. Because it was more of just like, oh, you can't do that on here. You're not in charge. And then Roman looks at him and he's like, excuse me. He's like, never mind. What do you need? that for so long kind of made me kind of like not respect Adam Pearce in a way.
Yeah, like who's running the show?
Exactly. And then Nick Aldis comes in and he's just like, I ain't taking none of Roman's shit.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I love Nick Aldis is willing to get in the person's face. He's not intimidated. And he helps the wrestler, too. Like, he helped CM Punk on the stretcher, get him in the ambulance.
Because he told Punk when they put him in the ambulance, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So, I love Nick Aldis as a GM. I still hope he wrestles at some point.
I could see him maybe doing 1 or 2 matches. Now, I don't see him getting like a run as a full-time roster member or anything, but I can see like someone's going to eventually push him a little too far, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to fight you.
Yeah. So that'd be cool.
Give him his one WrestleMania match.
So Drew McIntyre is back, but he's like broken and like fully psycho mode. I don't know what
he'll be on Raw. Said he'll explain his actions on Raw.
Yeah, so
like, you didn't quit? Or you changed your mind?
I love this. Drew is like, he keeps getting screwed over. Yeah. He thinks he has matches won, but he, F's up somehow on his own. So it's like he's really like mentally broken down, and like he's going down this dark path as a heel.
Because if you think about it, Punk has screwed him 3 times now. At WrestleMania after he won the belt. Then was it the Raw after WrestleMania or whatever, in that multi-man match that Jey Uso ended up winning to get the title shot, and then he screwed him at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah. So this is great stuff here, and I cannot wait for their one-on-one match. Hopefully, CM Punk doesn't get injured again. Knock on wood.
But the belief is that he will be cleared for SummerSlam.
Yeah,
and then they can go from there with a potential multi match feud. That, and I don't know, this hasn't been reported or anything, but I could see it leading to on October, I can forget the date, but they're going to do Bad Blood in October, and they want a Hell in a Cell match on that show.
That would be cool. I know CM Punk called out that one reporter at the press conference. It's like,
well, because he was like, you can't do Hell in a Cell in the first match of a storyline. I'm glad you're not booking these shows.
Yeah, it's like you got to build to it. It's got to be the big payoff to like a trilogy of matches. I get what CM Punk was saying. So funny stuff here. So yeah, Drew is just a monster right now. Love it. CM Punk, I'm sure, will be gone for a few weeks, recovering from this beatdown.
On SmackDown, Punk is gonna be okay, but must stay at the hospital for observations overnight.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens next there. I do want to touch on Damian Priest though, real quick. His title reign, what's going on with the Judgment Day right now. Before that though, opening segment of Raw this week, we saw the return of Seth freaking Rollins. What?
Oh yeah, I didn't expect it at all.
No way. I mean, I thought he was going to be out for a long time. Like his leg was like falling off the, like was hanging there.
Got surgery.
WrestleMania. Yeah. Did he get, okay. I thought he had surgery.
Said he had surgery. She said it in an interview. My husband had surgery.
I thought he was going to be gone for like 6 to 9 months recovering. Yeah. And with the timing of Becky Lynch's current contract expiring, I thought, and I think the rumor is like they don't expect her to sign anywhere else. She just wants to take time off. And I thought
she has other outside projects she wants to work on.
I thought this was a perfect time. Like she could be at home, relaxing, being up full time. Mom, Seth injured, he could be home. So like all 3 of them could be home together for at least 6 months. And like what better way to get some downtime at this point in their career? Like it's a perfect storm, the timing of it all. So I thought it's fine. Let Seth spend next 6 months recovering from his injury. Becky doesn't have a current deal, so she could be at home with him, and they can raise their daughter together.
And we know he's cleared. He's not just back; he's cleared because he's fighting Damian Priest at the Money in the Bank show for the title.
Yeah, so Seth comes out, cuts his promo. Damian interrupts him, and Damian said, "Hey, I know I won the title off Drew at WrestleMania when I cashed in, but I really wanted to win it off you because he was the first world heavyweight champion of this current incarnation of the title."
Well, technically, he said, when you won the world title, your first defense was against me and you beat me. So when I won this Money in the Bank, I always wanted to beat you because of that.
Exactly. So he says, I want to face you. And Seth's like, okay. And the Money in the Bank. So Seth is back already. Like, has there, I don't know, from your end, has there been any explanation? Like, is he like John Cena?
He just cleared.
Oh my God.
Nothing like, no, like, oh, he miraculously did this or that or whatever. No, it was just, he's back. Wow. I haven't heard nothing about it other than he's back and he's in the title picture already.
Okay. So we'll see what happens next. They're going to have a match. Money in the Bank, and what's next?
Because Seth came out and did the whole thing of, I want to go for the title, but I know I have, and I like the way Seth was saying it, where I know I can't just come back and get a match. I have to earn it. I'll win Money in the Bank if I have to. I know how to do it. And then that's when Damian comes out and was like, no. I want to put my title on the line against you. Let me defend against you. Let's do the match. And so that's a good way. I like it when, because it's like some people were like, he's already back getting a title shot. Does that make no sense? But I like it when the champion is like, no. I want to defend against this person because I want to have a match with you.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So if the champion's the one making the challenge, then that's okay for me. But
justify.
If Seth would have just come out and go, Damian, come out here, I want to fight you. It's like, but, huh?
Yeah.
But if the champion's the one agreeing to it and making the challenge, then it's just, like you said, justified.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I appreciate that. Outside of Judgment, Damian Priest and Judgment Day.
Started.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go too much into it because I know
I don't know where this is leading to.
Obviously, Liv Morgan for weeks now has
live over here with the bell Haktua. You see that video she made?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Smart on her part. Capitalize on.
Spit on that thing.
It's been on. And she liked that one meme someone made, like from Dominic. So anyway, yes. So long story short, we know what's been going on. Liv's been seducing Dominic for the last few weeks, telling him
the weirdest storyline ever, especially coming off the Vince McMahon trial stuff, because it's basically she is trying to seduce him, and he is unwanting. He is wearing his real life wedding ring throughout this whole thing.
Yeah,
we know him and Rhea are not a romantic couple.
Yeah,
it's like, what is? I'm so lost.
The only and then we saw like she handed him her hotel room key card. He had it on the table, and Carlito was like, "That's cool." But
and then Finn took it,
and then Finn secretly took it.
Like, no. He told Damian, "Oh no, I only took it so Dom couldn't go use it because I don't trust Dom."
Yeah. So
you think Dom gonna cheat on his real wife? I mean, again, he's wearing his wedding ring, or this hand actually. He's wearing his wedding ring every week.
The only thing I think what this is going to lead to, we all know Liv. I know she is women's world heavyweight, women's world champion on Raw. She has the title that Rhea had. Yep. It's her revenge tour. She wants revenge against Rhea. She got the title that Rhea had by way of beating Becky. She put Rhea out injured when she threw her against the wall the night after the Raw after Mania and hurt Rhea's shoulder. But she wants to like ruin Rhea's life. So obviously she's going towards her man, Dominic Mysterio. And I think the ultimate goal here, she just wants to implode Judgment Day. She wants to ruin Judgment Day, break them up. I think what she's doing is I think she's secretly working with Finn Balor. And I think Finn is maybe jealous of Damian being world champion. And so I know Finn lost.
And not to cut you off, but then why did she screw Zelina out of her qualifying match?
Yeah, I know. It's getting a little convoluted, though. I mean, hopefully we get a payoff soon. I think they're just probably waiting on when Rhea can get back healthy. But I think what's going to happen is I wonder. I know Finn lost on Raw this week, the qualifying match for Money in the Bank. But I wonder, knowing Triple H, don't they usually have like the go home shows? They'll have like a second chance opportunity for the people who lost.
That's what I was predicting they could do. A second chance qualifier for Money in the Bank, and then maybe Finn wins it.
Yeah, so I think Finn can still hypothetically, if they go that route, I think that's how Finn can get into the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I'm just early prediction. I wonder if Finn wins Money in the Bank, beats Damian Priest, screws him over, wins the title.
That'd be a quick turnaround because, again, like I said, I think Gunther walks out of SummerSlam with the title. So if they're going to have Finn cash in on Drew, it's going to be a quick turnaround.
True. Yeah. So that's my only flaw in my early fantasy
I mean, it's
booking.
not like we haven't seen win Money in the Bank and by the end of the night you cash it in. I mean, we've seen plenty of people do that. Whether Liv Morgan's done that, Dean Ambrose did that.
Yeah.
And
CM Punk,
Kane did that on Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, CM Punk would hate my fantasy booking right now. So, but what I'm getting at is we never got Finn versus Gunther. Remember they teased that at an NXT show, right? NXT UK, but it never happened. Was it pandemic, right? It was right before the pandemic. So. Yeah. So maybe you could do that there at SummerSlam. I don't know.
That would be an awesome main event, Gunther versus Finn Balor.
Yeah. So I just wonder, Liv and Finn are working together, and that's how the Judgment Day is going to break up. I don't know how. I'll let Triple H figure it out. I think that's what's happening here. So, but yeah, a lot going on there. So, I
did like those one last thing on Raw with the whole Liv Morgan stuff, where like she had Dom's vest, and Dom's like, "Just give me my vest back." She's like, "Take it off of me. I'll even help you out." And so he's going to unzip it, and Damian walks up. "Dom, what are you doing?" And he's like, I need my vest back. He's like, "Go to the clubhouse now." And then like Liv like says something. Who's like, she loca.
I love it's like, yeah, Damien's the big brother here. It's like, yes, come on. So that wraps up Clash at the Castle as far as the matches go. Let me just double check. Let's see.
A lot of Raw we talked about too.
Yeah. So let's see. We talked about Seth Rollins being back, Chad Gable stuff. So Io Sky defeated Kiana James and Selena Vega, so she qualifies for Money in the Bank women's ladder match. Talked about Braun Breaker and Sheamus challenging Sami Zayn. Carlito defeated Dragon Lee. Drew McIntyre. Caden Carter, Katana Chance defeated Damage Control. That was kind of shocking. And Valkyria, was ringside with them.
It's going to do a 6-woman tag down the line.
Yeah. Sheamus defeated Braun Breaker by DQ. And then, we saw Jey Uso defeat Balor and Rey Mysterio, so he qualifies for Money in the Bank. And then, let's talk about the end of Raw.
Ooh, buddy.
The big reveal, the debut of the Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy, and the rest of the crew.
The Whataburger gang.
Yeah, it's the Whataburger gang. So, Jey Uso wins, and there's still like 5 minutes left on Raw. So I thought, wow, this wins a little early. It's still abrupt.
Something in my brain watching this entire show, I'm like, they're saving this for, because we knew it was coming.
Yeah,
we knew the Wyatts were coming, or whatever, the Wyatt Six. And
the QR code was like the big, like the date.
And apparently, like when you go to the website, there was a countdown.
Gotcha.
From the last QR code, and I'm like, they're gonna do this at the very, very end of the show. Now, I didn't know if they were gonna actually attack somebody in the ring. Who would they go after? I thought at one point, because when Drew was walking to the ring, it started glitching out on the screen when we saw him backstage. So I'm like, oh, are they gonna come for Drew? And Drew's just even more screwed and messed with. But then Drew did the I quit, and it was nothing. But when they came at the end, and here's the thing, because it was, and this worked perfectly. It was a great transition because Jay was in the crowd celebrating, and they had the cell phones out.
Yeah.
And so the cell phones are out, the lights go out, cell phones are still on, and here comes the Wyatt Six, and the Fireflies are still up there.
So then I'm just pulling up come on, where is it? All the names. I mean, I know who's in the group, but it's just they're. Well, it's got the Spanish version. No, what the? Hold on. Anyway, so what I'm getting at, lights go out, and we see the lantern sitting there. We see the door, like when Bray Wyatt re-debuted at Extreme Rules 2022. Out comes what appears to be Sister Abigail, but we know that is Nikki Cross. And then I just loved. Well, one, like all the fog was like appearing up out of the ground.
Because I like when Nikki was just like, she points back.
Yeah. And the one camera shot just going around to gorilla position. You see everyone laid out in the back area, which is shocking because earlier in the night when we saw Drew McIntyre quit, he stormed to the back. Was talking
I think
to Triple
that's
H.
why this main event match was 18 minutes ish or something like that.
The setup,
they had to build all that back there.
Yeah. So I like it with how they show you gorilla position before this chaotic event happened, showing you what's it like back there, and then jump ahead towards the end of the night, just how devastating, destroyed everything was. Like it's cool. You got
and all this stuff.
Yeah, you got the preview earlier in the night with Drew McIntyre back there, and then now this. But yeah, you see everyone laid out. Then you see Eric Rowan with the big sledgehammer, and he's wearing the rabbit mask.
Rambling Rabbit.
That's so he's playing that role. They go into the grill position. You see Dexter Lumis with his the buzzard.
Mercy the Buzzard.
Mercy the Buzzard. He's sitting there on top of the boxes. Go to the back. You see Joe Gacy as the pig. Huskus the pig. And then sure enough, you see Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Bo Dallas, walking through in the same blue light that Bray Wyatt did when he came back in Extreme Rules. Also same for Brody Lee when he debuted in AEW. So cool, just call back to all that stuff.
Also, here's my question, and I haven't said this yet on any like review or anything. I was thinking about this yesterday when I was rewatching this segment. Could, and then maybe this is me just looking too far into it, could Joe Gacy wearing the flannel be like a Brody Lee like Harper tribute kind of thing?
Probably, yeah.
He had the same flannel with the cut off sleeves that Harper used to wear back in the day.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Like different color or whatever, but it's still the flannel. And I thought of that. I'm like, ooh, maybe that's a little callback.
There's a lot of Easter eggs too. Like Uncle Howdy, he had the gloves like Bray would wear, but instead of like
Bray on it,
it said Bray on it, which was cool. And then so Uncle Howdy comes walking through. He saw he kind of stumbled a little bit, which I was worried he was gonna fall, but he didn't. He collected himself pretty quickly. So he's walking towards the front, and then the rest of the Wyatt Six, follow along behind him, and they come out.
He like stops and looks at one of them, is like, "Follow me," and then the next one, and
everyone's laid out like bloody, like someone's head was like bashed in the wall with the blood splatter. I mean,
the thing with all of that, according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, many people thought that they were, that's this wrestler and that's this wrestler. Gunther got attacked. This is the only real WWE wrestler that was laid out backstage was Gable. The rest were all extras.
Yeah. I know some people thought like, oh my God, Gunther got laid out. Someone thought that was Triple H.
I've only seen this girl like once or twice. Her videos are starting to pop up on Twitter for me and stuff. I can't remember her name. The blonde girl that does Twitch and whatnot. She does like live reactions to wrestling shows. I think it maybe like her name's Wheezy or something. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But she had a theory because she thought she saw Chad Gable and Gunther and one other person or whatever. Oh, she thought she saw Dominic laid out as well. And she was like, these are all people who have eventually turned on or been mean to the people that have been part of like their family. Chad was mean to and started to treat the Alpha Academy bad. Gunther turned on Giovanni Vinci. Dom turned on his father. But then we know it wasn't any of them really. It was only Gable and a bunch of extras.
Interesting. Well,
people have been throwing out a bunch of different theories.
Here's my kind of theory. So we see them come out and they say, "We're here." Uncle Howdy says, "We're here," blows out the lantern and into the show. So now we have 5 members of the Wyatt Six, and I think the 6th member is honoring Bray's spirit as the lantern. Interesting lineup here. I mean, all these people in this faction or stable are known for their
quirkiness.
Yeah, like I don't want to say spooky, but they kind of quirkiness. So they all kind of fit what this image of this group is.
Indy Hartwell wants a divorce.
Yes, I saw that too. It's interesting though, and I hope. Okay. I know people are kind of commenting. It's like, how do you book a spooky faction, a supernatural faction in 2024? It's tough. It's not like the early 90s when Undertaker first debuted. It is tough.
I think Dave Meltzer, and Dave got crap for saying this, but I think Dave said it the best. And people took his quotes and what he said out of context.
Yes.
I saw some people on Twitter like post his quote, but then they didn't post some of what he said after what they retweeted and this and that. Basically, Dave was like, look at when Bray came back to WWE and he destroyed a bunch of baby faces and they kept trying to book him really strong and like they had him against The Miz, and then The Miz never got credibility back. He hurt Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan, and there's a lot of things where they had to keep him strong, and others ended up being the victim and not looking well and having to be rebuilt back up because of it and this and that. And it's like, now you have 5 of these people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you book 5 people to where the first time they lose, it's like, oh, okay, now what?
Well, I definitely
how long do they stay undefeated?
Yeah, I definitely have more faith in Triple H
Right.
handling this than like a Vince McMahon would creatively.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder I hope they don't focus too much on the supernatural and they're still able to keep some sort of realism in the real world. How does translate in the ring though, and like the actual wrestling matches, that's going to be a tough part. We can like see how this goes in the near future.
The other question is, okay, I doubt Dexter Lumis is going to wrestle with that mask on.
Yeah.
And then when he takes it off, is he Dexter Lumis? Or do they change his name? Is he now, Mercy the Buzzard? Is that his new name, Mercy? Is Eric Rowan Eric Rowan? And that's the other thing. We don't know. Are they just the characters that they are now? Are they going to be split personality characters where sometimes they're regular, what we know of them, and then sometimes they're their new supernatural version of them? It's like, there's a lot of questions still to be answered. It's only been a week. They didn't do anything with them on SmackDown, which I was kind of a little disappointed with.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the teases on SmackDown with the QR code and everything.
Well, Nick Aldis had the extra security, so it's a good GM. Good job there. I like how they showed up on Pat McAfee's show. And
eventually. Yeah, after we thought it was one day it was them, and then it wasn't, and then it was another day and it ended up being them. But the one thing that I didn't like was like, oh, we have extra security. Okay, but look what they did on Raw. Like, the security ain't gonna do nothing with these guys.
Yeah. I hope they do explain how this current lineup came to be.
I want to know. I want Bo, if we're gonna call him Bo, I guess for now, Uncle Howdy, to say, I picked these people because XYZ.
Yeah. So I forgot where I saw it, someone online, but someone pointed out all these members have experienced loss. They were in previous factions or groups, and those groups are no longer together. They've fallen apart. So like Eric Rowan, he was with the Wyatt family and also the Bludgeon Brothers with Luke Harper, no longer there. So he's experienced loss. Joe Gacy paused an NXT with Schism, right? Is it Schism? Yeah, Schism. They're no longer together anymore. They broke up. Dexter Lumis was part of The Way with Gargano and all them, Indy and Candice and even Austin Theory. They're no longer a thing anymore. Nikki Cross, she was with Sanity, back in the day. And then Bo Dallas, you can say, I mean, if they do fully acknowledge that, Bray was his real life brother, experienced loss. Well, because
we never got the reveal of him as Uncle Howdy before, so that's just he's Uncle Howdy.
Yeah. So, but he was connected to Bray Wyatt when Bray was still alive. So I forgot who said that. Sorry, I can't give credit to, but I thought that was a good
theory. Yeah,
good theory. Like, these are all lost individuals who came together, and so what their motivation is. We can get into that more. Hopefully, we'll get more answers on Raw this week, so we can.
If you remember when Bray first brought the Wyatt family group together, he said, "I'm bringing these lost souls and these men, and I'm making a family for people that didn't have before."
And I think these costumes that we saw on Monday are much better than the ones we saw at Extreme Rules 2022.
Oh yeah, those look like Spirit Halloween costumes.
Yeah, when they all came out, these ones much better costumes, and that's why I'm hopeful this incarnation of the Wyatt Six is going to be a lot better, and I'm intrigued. And so
it's all going to come down to how Bo cuts these promos.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be the one talking for the group. Like the others may speak some, but I don't see them. I see them more being just like in ring. They're going to go destroy people and do Uncle Howdy's bidding, and he's going to be the one talking, telling the stories, and doing all the stuff. And we do know also that according to Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, last week, while most of the people were in Cardiff for Clash of the Castle, they were filming vignettes.
Oh, you mean in Scotland?
That's what I mean. Yeah, I keep getting it mixed up. Scotland. The Wyatt Six were filming vignettes. Don't know how many.
They filmed vignettes 2 years ago.
No. My bad. We don't know how many they filmed or what all they filmed, but they were filming some sort of vignettes to introduce the group and whatnot.
So yeah, we can talk more about that once we get more on Raw this week. I know we're running long here. Let's just power through these last couple talking points here. NXT this week, they had the big 25-man battle royal to declare new number one contender for Trick Williams in the NXT Championship. The show, that was the first match of the show. And the big reveal.
Frankie Kazarian.
Yes, Frankie Kazarian from TNA was there. But also.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Hell yes. The man himself, the most viral sensation in pro wrestling in the last few months. Joe Hendry from TNA showed up.
So in 4 days, he had more views on the video of his entrance on WWE's Twitter account than any other WWE tweet or video tweet throughout the year. And I saw a lot of people going, oh, they're fake views. They're teamed up with Twitter anyways with the speed stuff. So Twitter's making them look good. And people kept saying, what does this mean? He's an industry plant. What does that mean?
It's just conspiracy talk.
Did you not see that this man got his song at the top of the British charts before all of this?
Yes.
Of just a guy in TNA.
Yeah.
It's not like he was this big AEW or WWE name some guy in TNA got the song over that big.
So, no, just very happy to see him show up in NXT. Big surprise. The crowd popped so hard.
You want to know something cool about with me and Joe Hendry? Joe Hendry is the first wrestler I ever interviewed.
Really?
Yep. Nick and I interviewed him for the Pro Wrestling Unlimited channel. It was the first interview we ever did on the channel.
What?
Yeah, Nick set it all up, and then we did an interview with him. Yep, first one we ever did.
Oh, that is awesome. Is that still on YouTube? Can we
it should be.
Okay.
I never deleted any videos. So.
Hell yeah. Okay, I have to check that out. But
I want to say it's like 2017 or maybe 2018.
Okay. Well, so this all comes of the new relationship, NXT, TNA working together. We saw, last month, Jordan Grace was the big reveal as Roxanne Perez's opponent for NXT Battleground. So it was TNA Women's Champion, Knockouts Champion versus Roxanne Perez, NXT Women's Champion. They had the match at Battleground. Roxanne won. And then we saw, what's her name?
Dana Brooke or Ash by Elegance show up at that show too. Freaking Vic Joseph with the wrong name.
And then who showed up on TNA to face? Yeah, took on Jordan Grace.
Kind of underwhelming, but the match was better than I expected.
Okay. And then so they got this little partnership going with TNA and NXT, which I've been told
the best is yet to come as far as like who WWE is sending over there.
I believe that. I want to be optimistic. It's not going to be one-sided, all WWE winning, dominating. But I do want to shout out. Yeah.
To cut you off, the one positive of WWE working with them and AEW when they were working with them. Yeah. AEW, even though they had a world champion on their show, a TNA world champion and Kenny Omega, they never told you when TNA was on.
Yep.
NXT, they have said, hey, this Thursday at 8 Central on go watch TNA,
Yeah, yeah. And they've been on social media and all that stuff. I was going to say with what was I going to say with Joe Hendry or TNA and NXT working together?
Yeah,
I really enjoy this because one, they're being smart here. They're bringing in the big names because last week everyone was like, when Cody Rhodes showed up on NXT, him and Trick Williams talking. Cody Rhodes announced a battle royal for a new number one contender for Trick Williams. People were like speculating who from TNA was going to show up. Was going to be Matt Hardy, who's back with TNA. Jeff Hardy's back with TNA.
Not signed though. Matt and Jeff not signed to TNA. They're still free agents technically.
Are they by appearance deal?
I think so. They didn't sign actual contracts with the company.
Wow. Okay. So, but I think this is a smart move because for NXT, if they keep sending more people to TNA, I think that's great. It just gives them an opportunity to work more matches from different audience, work with different wrestlers, just work on, it helps build up their experience level and it helps these wrestlers grow as competitors. I'm all for working together. And then WWE, working with potentially Noah now and like rumors of AAA as well. So,
okay. So there's some interesting things with the AAA stuff.
Okay.
So Lucha Libre Online first reported that they want to work with a Mexican promotion, whether that is in Mexico or Puerto Rico. Gotcha. But then Dave Meltzer this week put out that Dorian Roldan, who runs AAA, had talks with somebody in NXT. Yet then Hugo Siminovich, who works for AAA, went to Lucha Libre Online and said, no, Dorian has not talked to anybody in WWE. So we don't know where Meltzer got his stuff from. Now, again, maybe Hugo's saying that to try and throwing people off and like, no, don't ruin the surprise. We don't know exactly what's going on with WWE and AAA, but we know that they'll work together. They'll play ball because if you remember, before Dragon Lee came into WWE, he and Dralistico defeated FTR for the AAA tag team titles. And then that same night, moments later, he goes, oh, by the way, we just won the titles, but I'm vacating them because I'm going to WWE. So we know AAA and WWE will play ball and work together some way.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's so shocking because WWE for the longest time under Vince McMahon didn't work with other companies.
Right.
And now it's just, I still can't believe WWE is working with other promotions right now, but I could give Triple H and whoever else credit to allow this. It just
Triple H finally getting his local globalization.
True. Yeah. I know that's been a goal of his for a long time. So I think this is smart. I think it just helps the wrestling industry as a whole. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier. I want to shout out my boys, Mike and JD, their podcast. Mike had like a 30-minute interview. I forgot who it was, but he explained the relationship with WWE and TNA. And I know a lot of people are being kind of critical, like, oh, it's going to just favor WWE.
Right.
This person explained TNA is all in on this working relationship. They want that rub from working with WWE. Any exposure they're getting from this, they love it. So for any of the haters out there, just know they're excited for this working relationship with between TNA and WWE and NXT specifically.
Right.
So, and as you just said, like the best is yet to come. So I'm excited for what could happen this summer.
So they announced the main event for Slammiversary. I forget the date, but it's late July. That's one of their biggest shows of the year. It's like their Summer Slam. Because their biggest show is Bound for Glory. Their second biggest show every year is Slammiversary.
Yep.
And they always like surprises at Slammiversary.
Yeah.
And so they announced that Moose, this is kind of random, but I don't follow TNA enough to know if it is or not, but it to me felt random. Moose will defend the title in a six-way.
Really?
Josh Alexander is already qualified. So it's Moose, Josh Alexander, and 4 others. So I could see maybe somebody from WWE showing up in that match, in that TNA World Title match.
Really? Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's where they get their AJ Styles or something at Slammiversary. Because I could see them maybe giving them somebody big for their second biggest show of the year.
Interesting. Okay.
Just spitballing though.
But
what we saw.
But so I'm just saying, like, I'm excited for what this relationship can lead between the two. More fun matches, crossovers, and it helps the talent, the younger talent build up their experience levels. And I think long-term it could be a great situation. Going back to Joe Hendry, though, super awesome for him. It was super exciting to see him appear there. I hope someday he does sign with WWE. I'm sure this is their way of trying to recruit Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace at some point when their contracts are up with TNA. I'm sure this is their way to loosely, start winning them over.
You want to do some real like back and forth with TNA and WWE and kind of like blur the lines here. What if Joe Hendry is doing a match in WWE and he has, I don't know if he still is, but I know he was feuding with AJ Francis, the former Top Dollar. What if Top Dollar shows up on like an NXT show to screw Joe Hendry? Further confusing Vic Joseph.
Yes. Well, then, so in the Battle Royal, Joe Hendry was the last one to enter, but first one eliminated. Everyone pushed him out. Everyone was so upset. Oh, he's the most over guy.
There's a reason he got an entrance.
Yes. And if you look on social media, he cut a promo as he was walking to the back, going through Gorilla, confronted Shawn Michaels, and he walks away, and Shawn Michaels says, I believe. So this has to lead to more stuff. This is not a one and done thing with Joe Hendry and NXT. I think there's going to be more building here, more matches. So him getting eliminated first led to that backstage promo, which then to me, you're not going to do that, and that's the end of it. That promo is going to lead to maybe something else. Joe Hendry's pissed off, and I'm sure he's going to come back in some capacity. So I'm excited for that. Plus, when he got eliminated, Frankie Kazarian was in his face like, ha, you don't run TNA, I do, because they had a match at the pay-per-view like the week before or something. So they're continuing a little bit of their storyline on NXT television. So I'm all excited for this.
Joe Hendry sent out a tweet today teasing maybe being at the NXT Heatwave show in Toronto.
Exactly. So that's why I'm thinking this is going to lead to something bigger. Joe Hendry was not going to win that battle royal. They had their own people lined up because what's his name?
Javon Evans or something.
Yeah. I had Javon Evans won the Battle Royal.
Looks like they're leading to a 4-way where it's going to be Evans, Sean
Trick Williams.
Spears, and Ethan Page all defending or all challenging Trick.
Yeah, exactly. So they got some cool stuff going on.
Kind of weird. It's like, why do the Battle Royal and then you're gonna? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna let it play out.
Or maybe Javon and Trick team up to go up against Sean Spears and Ethan Page. Maybe do a tag team match.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for this partnership. I'm excited for Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I want to see more Joe Hendry on TV. And I'm excited what they can do. If this leads to a match at Heatwave, I'm all excited for Money in the Bank weekend. So, all right, let's move on over to SmackDown. Power through this. We talked about Paul Heyman, CM Punk. Let's see. Chelsea Green, we talked about. She won. She qualifies for the women's Money in the Bank match. Carmelo Hayes defeated Randy Orton and Tama Tonga. He's qualified for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Santos Escobar, LA Knight got into a fight. Logan Paul showed up, beat up LA Knight. So I'm excited. They're finally getting around to this Logan Paul versus LA Knight. I hope this leads to a SummerSlam match.
It's got to. That's the plan. That's the plan right now.
In Cleveland.
Because Cleveland is Logan Paul's hometown.
And Logan Paul goes in U.S. champion when then LA Knight gets his first official WWE first singles title, wins the U.S. title at SummerSlam. I think that'll be a great moment. So all for that. I love the previous video package last week where LA Knight invaded Logan Paul's home in Puerto Rico, was in the swimming pool. So that was funny stuff. Let's see. Andrade picks up the win over Kevin Owens and Grayson Waller.
And on that really quickly, I'm glad that they acknowledged him as the speed champion.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't ever for Ricochet.
Yes, and Ricochet now, as of this moment, no longer with WWE. And
his contract is up, I think, first week of July.
Gotcha.
What I heard was it might be July 1st.
Okay. So Andrade qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, main event time, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, as that was established early in the show, the beginning of the show, when Cody made the save for CM Punk. The match starts and gets interrupted pretty quickly by Tama Tonga and his brother.
You got to remember the stip Cody put on there. He said, Kevin and Randy will stay in the back.
Yeah.
You keep the Tongans in the back, and we go one-on-one.
Yeah. So
a minute and a half.
And barely a minute and a half. And then so they interfere. Then Randy and Kevin make the save. The Tongan brothers both are taken out of the ring. Solo's in the corner like, no, don't hurt me. But then he stops and smiles. And sure enough, camera zooms out. You see Jacob Fatu making his debut, runs in the ring, attacks and beats up all three of the baby faces.
Slimmed down Jacob Fatu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Jacob, man. Getting in great shape. But I saw him looking slim back in April. So he's been working hard for the last few months. But yeah, he attacks Cody Rhodes, beats up Randy Orton, beats up Kevin Owens, takes out Kevin Owens with the Samoan drop on the steel steps, spears Randy Orton through the barricade. Wasn't the smoothest breakaway. So you can see Randy was like, oh, with this bad back.
Right.
And then Jacob does the frog splash on Cody through the table and hugs Solo afterwards. And then all four members of the Bloodline 2.0 stop and post, throw them ones up in the air. Great last shot for the ending of SmackDown. So finally,
the cameras got the greatest shot of Jacob when he was at ringside, and he just had that wild, whole wild Samoan look on his face, and the camera was just perfect for it right there.
Jacob, his facial expressions are always amazing. Looks like scary, intimidating. I'm just super happy for him.
When I did my podcast last night, and then I always do the poll, what did you think of SmackDown? What did you think of Raw? What did you think of whatever? I always do a poll. Did you like it? Did you think it was just all right? Or did you not like it? And then people will always comment on the poll as well. And one of the comments was, another Nepo baby getting a contract. And I'm like, no. That means you don't know Jacob Fatu.
No.
Because so many have said, of all of them, he may be the best athlete, even better than Roman.
Yes. I mean, I'm biased. I'm from the Bay Area. I've seen Jacob wrestle the local independent Bay Area wrestling scene for years. He has been hustling, busting his ass, working every promotion around here. He's been champion in all these promotions, going all around the country, wrestling in New York for a House of Glory, for MLW. He did an appearance, well, against Josh Alexander, so Impact, but it was Ric Flair's last match show. But but so he did technically wrestle an Impact wrestler. The stuff with MLW, wrestling other promotions around the country, GCW.
And didn't he do his first New Japan match at Battle in the Valley?
Yes, I was there for that too in San Jose. Like, Jacob's been busting his ass for years, going all around the country, wrestling people. This has been long overdue, but he's been such an amazing wrestler. People have been wanting him to go to WWE because he's just a phenomenal wrestler. He's a big man, but he can move. He's scary. He's intimidating. Can cut amazing promos. He is just a badass, and he's going to add so much to this bloodline right now. I'm so excited for him. I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of you, Jacob. Congrats. And then, he comes out and, attacks the three top baby faces on SmackDown. What a debut for Jacob. That was incredible. I love this segment. What are your thoughts now on this current lineup of the Bloodline? I think the Bloodline post WrestleMania, it's been okay. Solo, they've been trying to build him up as this intimidating authority figure. Paul Heyman's been really selling for him as like, oh my God, he's like really scared of him. But adding Jacob really adds a whole new level of intimidation and like adds like a shot of adrenaline like really needed for this faction.
Right now, on one side, it is Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. We do know the rumor is that Hikuleo is coming in, and they may have already trademarked his name. Tala Tonga. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, Tala because he's a big guy. No, Tala because that's his real middle name.
Okay.
Yes, they're spelling it Talla, but his real middle name is Taula, Tala. It's a play off of his real middle name, Tala Tonga. So all those three brothers are going to be Tonga. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Tala Tonga. And I assume they're all going to be together with Solo. We have Jacob, who's now with them. But then on the other side, it's Roman, Jimmy. Maybe Jay finally goes back over there because we get a babyface Roman and Jimmy after Solo and his group turn on them. I don't know. Where does Paul Heyman play in all of this? But if you say Summer Survivor Series is the War Games match, Bloodline versus Bloodline, the family's imploding, who's on what side, though? Because we've got Hikuleo still to come in. Then Zilla Fatu last night or this morning goes on Instagram, is like, I'm coming soon or something like that, or see you soon. I'm like, what? I'm going to sign you too? We also got Lance Anoa'i. He's over there wrestling, doing great things in MLW, tag team champion and whatnot with Juicy Finau. So it's like, oh, they're going to bring in Juicy. Juicy's, they call Juicy family. You're going to bring Juicy in too? But
you can bring Journey Fatu, Jacob's younger brother. Right. Journey's badass too. They're both, him and Juicy are wrestling tonight in San Francisco for UGWA. Nice. Yeah, so
it's like I don't know where this is leading to, because then now the whole thing is like, oh, you're bringing every Samoan you can that's related. It's like I get it. It's a little much, but it's like they're not doing this just because The Rock wants it. They're doing this because these are all guys that WWE has been looking at for a while. And I know so the thing with Jacob Fatu was his criminal history.
Yeah.
WWE, more specifically Vince McMahon, didn't want to sign him because of his criminal history. And that's why Jacob's only ever worked in the United States. He didn't get any bookings in Mexico. He didn't get any bookings in Canada or over in the UK because he wasn't able to work over there legally because of his criminal history. And according to a report from Fightful, that's why he was signed WrestleMania week. But it took so long to bring Jacob in because they were doing so many international things between WrestleMania and now. Now they're more focused on the United States. They're going to be here for a while. Perfect. Now, Fightful also did state that we don't know 100% if he can't go out of the United States, but to be safe, that's why they waited to bring him in this far.
Okay.
But I think, right now, Jacob Fatu is probably just going to be the extra guy with Solo Sikoa. Who knows how much he's going to talk. They haven't let Tama Tonga talk yet, who's a great talker. He's just been Tasmanian Devil, Donnie Thornberry in it up. So we've been seeing that. But when they're finally ready to break Jacob Fatu off on his own, you people are going to learn. Jacob Fatu is not going to be just some other Samoan guy in this company.
He's the real deal.
Intercontinental United States champion. I don't know if they'll ever, I would hope, I don't know if he'd ever become WWE champion, maybe world heavyweight, but I would hope that they push him as a main event guy eventually, because this guy is amazing in the ring. He's amazing on the microphone, his presence, his facial expressions, and like, more, because I've only ever seen him live once, but I've seen a lot of his work on television, and it's like, this guy sucks you into that screen, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I've been lucky to see him wrestle for years with All Pro Wrestling, West Coast Pro Wrestling, Big Time Wrestling, East Bay Pro Wrestling. He did stuff in Petaluma as well. He's wrestled all over the Bay Area for years, and I've been very lucky to see him wrestle so long. And everyone else in the Bay Area that live here and watch him, we all know how great he is. So I'm excited for the rest of the world to see what Jacob has to offer and bring to the table in and out of the ring. As you said, the amazing work he does in the ring, the hard hitting, the high flying stuff he does, and then the promos. It's like when he talks, he speaks with such passion and emotion. You feel it. It's very authentic. I cannot wait for everything that Jacob's going to bring to the table. I want to buy his t-shirt. They got a new t-shirt for him already. His first WWE t-shirt. I will definitely be buying that, supporting Jacob. Hope he gets a lot of royalties. I want the entire Bay Area, whoever's listening, go get his shirt right now off WWE Shop. It's a werewolf, which some people are like, why do they call him the werewolf? His nickname was the Samoan werewolf for years.
If you look at it, the werewolf on the shirt has Samoan, like, the Samoan, like, patterns to the werewolf's fur.
Yeah, it's awesome. I definitely want to get that. So I'm just happy for Jacob. He's such, I mean, sorry to break kayfabe. He's such a sweetheart off the air, behind the scenes. He's a great guy. He's really turned his life around. He's a family man.
See that when he does just regular interviews, like when he's just being interviewed by like the Denise Salcedo interview, or he's seen a couple other different interviews. It comes off of how great and genuine of a guy he is.
Exactly. He's such a sweetheart.
And he always talks about how, hey, I may not have been the best guy back in the day, but I learned from all that. I changed my life around, and now I'm ready to do better.
He's a great example. If things go well for him in WWE, which I hope, and I know they will, he could be a great ambassador, speaking to youth about, like, I turned my life around. Yeah. I mean, the stuff with Tyson O'Neill, Tyson. Yeah. I mean, all that stuff.
Titus O'Neill,
sorry. Titus O'Neill, excuse me. And he's got a new book out, by the way. Go get his book. But the stuff, like, he can be a great ambassador for that stuff, speaking to the youth. Like, I'm already thinking of long-term stuff he could do with the company, but I'm so happy for Jacob and excited. But it's amazing. Like, in one segment, everyone's like super excited for the Bloodline now. Like, this Bloodline finally feels much more scary because, the Usos and Roman Reigns, they are huge stars for a long time in WWE. This new Bloodline, they're not as well known and established compared to those guys. So Jacob being added is going to add more credibility to this faction, that they can be a force against Roman and the Usos when they do all, I imagine, reunite as baby faces. So old Bloodline versus new Bloodline. That's going to be a new Civil War. I think that's going to lead to the War Games match at Survivor Series. As far as fourth member, I mean, maybe could they call back Sami Zayn to help out for one night? I mean, one night only, even though he's far removed from that. I mean, hell, maybe can they get Cody to help out? Like, Cody and Solo are going to have a program. Maybe. I mean, I forgot to mention at Clash of the Castle, when the Bloodline tried to attack Cody and Kevin and Randy made the save, Randy did eyeball the title. One of that can lead to something, him and Randy, Cody at some point down the road. But anyway, I'm excited for the Bloodline. I know we can keep talking about it, but I know we're running long here, but I'm excited for what Jacob Fatu is going to bring to the table. I encourage all of you, keep watching SmackDown, watch what Jacob does. Go on YouTube or Twitter, Instagram. There's a ton of highlights of him there. You can see all the crazy stuff he can do. I cannot say enough good things about Jacob.
You gonna moonsault off that War Games cell?
Hell yeah, I hope so. He has experience. Well, he did.
Off copper cages, and not sturdy cages at that either.
Yeah, MLW, like, he was in a version of their War Games match, War Chamber, with the Von Erichs when he was with Contra, his old faction. So he's definitely be a badass in a cage scenario there. But I'm super happy for everyone here involved, and it's long overdue for Jacob and representing the Bay Area. So we're all excited and happy for him. The love he's been getting the last 48 hours has been on social media has been great, and he's going to continue to get that. And can't wait to see when he makes a Bay Area debut for WWE. That's going to be cool. So so much to get into. I know we could keep talking about this, but let's go ahead and start wrapping it up. Tim, thank you for joining me tonight. Another extended long episode of In The Kliq. Where can the people find you online?
So first off, WWE will be back in Sacramento on September 20th with SmackDown.
I know. I am bummed. So yeah, Jacob, I think, was born in Sacramento. I mean, on his Twitter bio, he does say Sacramento.
See what his wiki says.
But he lives somewhere else. I'll just say that.
Wikipedia says San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know Jacob lives in another city. But,
yeah.
But I think he's a Kings fan. I think. I gotta be careful because I'm in Warriors territory, so I think I don't want to speak for him. If I ever interview him, I'll clarify that. But I know I'm bummed I cannot go to that show because Green Day, my favorite band in the world, is playing Oracle Park in San Francisco.
Yeah, you can't miss that.
No, I can't miss that. I bought tickets a long time ago. So
right.
But yeah, sorry. As you were saying.
Oh, but with that, you can find all my work, Pro Wrestling Unlimited, whether that's on YouTube, Pro Wrestling Unlimited, maybe on Twitter, PW Unlimited. We're just everywhere. We're on all the different platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Try to throw us on Threads when Threads actually works properly on desktop, because sometimes it's like you're not logged into Instagram, but yes, you are. But it's Threads, like it works and doesn't work sometimes. We're everywhere, Facebook, TikTok, and so forth. So just follow all the work there. You can find my personal stuff at Timmy Buddy. But yeah, I love being on here with you, talking pro wrestling. I love the banter we do back and forth and everything. And I'm willing to come on here and talk with you anytime.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate you making the save once again tonight to record this very important episode, especially with everything that happened this week in WWE. It was long overdue. Had to get an episode out there. So I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Follow at In The Kliq on social media as well. Please subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment as well. Subscribe to the audio version of our podcast, wherever you get your podcasts at. Email me inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.